that looked like there was a culvert that had funneled it down, but it was a proper flash flood.
Severe flooding in Southern California today. Some people surprised by just how quickly they found themselves surrounded by high waters.
Well, I was on my way into work and I got whacked. I didn't drive into it, it drove into me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. People all across California faced rising waters again today with this latest strong storm. First responders rushed to rescue people from flooding in parts of Northern California and Southern California. Some of the worst of it has been in Long Beach in Los Angeles County. Here is a live look tonight at LA, where conditions are starting to clear, but there is a whole lot more rain on the way in the coming days. We begin our weather team coverage tonight with Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez, who talked with flood victims in Long Beach.
We got major flooding problems in the Long Beach area.
For drivers off Willow Street.
I was trying to get out and my car was still going.
Sinking, actually. She doesn't want her face on camera, as opposed to...
That's exactly 10 inches.
You had 10 inches of water in.
Yes, look.
Wilson Mora's printing shop off PCH, where equipment and prints are damaged. Sell video of what PCH looked like this morning when it flooded several businesses.
Because it was a chaos. It was a mess. It was a big ocean. So when we came in here, this whole thing was full of water.
Tom's Burgers, Razor's Barber Shop across the street. Check this photo of his flooded place. They all point to the same thing we saw fire crews checking in flooded areas all over Long Beach.
All the drains around the corners, in each corner.
They're plugged?
Yes, yes.
They're saying there's going to be more rain Sunday and Monday.
I'm going to be ready. Everything's going to be on the table.
We just got to be aware of that and then try to get ready for what's coming.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting for us tonight. In Orange County, crews continue keeping a close eye on a hillside that gave way last week. And fortunately, the situation here doesn't appear to be getting worse with this new storm. Yesterday, heavy tarps were installed over this area to help prevent the soil from becoming more saturated. Last week's landslide damaged a pedestrian bridge and railroad tracks used by Metrolink and Amtrak. Some passenger rail service is still suspended tonight. In Northern California, strong wind gusts and heavy rains caused widespread problems. A large tree fell onto a street in San Francisco today. Fortunately, no one was hurt there. As KTVU's Tom Vakar reports, rescue crews across the Bay Area were ready to go.
In Sonoma County, in Shelbyville, Highway 121, which connects Highway 37 at Sears Point to the Napa Valley, flooded, as it often does in heavy rains. As sea level rise continues, this very low-lying but heavily traveled road cannot help but to flood more often and for longer periods of time. Beyond travel, there's a major fire station at this location, and several wineries will also be heavily affected until meaningful mitigation can be built. By midday Thursday, Santa Rosa's Swiftwater Rescue Team was standing down, only likely to be called back into service for Monday's expected heavy rains. With drainage mostly on tap for the North Bay now, Santa Rosa is turning its attention to next week.
The focus right now is the next round of rains on Wednesday. Although we're not expecting much in the amount of rainfall, it's continuing to keep the ground saturated. And then our eyes are kind of on the potential for a substantial storm next week.
Near the intersection of Rohnert Park Expressway and Stony Point Road, which also had an early morning closure, we found two members of a U.S. Geological Survey crew. They were fielding some high-tech equipment that looks like a mini trimaran on the end of a tether, all of which is lowered into the river. Individual Americans directly benefit from this service.
Our data is made available to help protect life and property during a flood event.
In this case, the USGS is measuring the width, depth, and flow velocity of Laguna de Santa Rosa, which is sure to flood this intersection during heavy rain periods that feeds into the Russian River on its way to the Pacific. The USGS also has a permanent radar to sense the river's level, sending the data to the National Weather Service's Flood Prediction Division, water officials, first responders, and the public on its website.
It's a satellite system that relays the data from the field to the satellite and back to our databases. And So obviously that's quick. The idea is speed, to be able to get it out there as fast as possible.
This really is your tax dollars at work. And as sea level rises, it's important also rises every day. Tom Vakar, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Well, this storm system has kicked up some big waves crashing along San Diego's coast. So far, though, that region is not seeing any more issues with high water as people continue recovering from last week's flash flooding there that we told you about. Emergency managers say they are monitoring conditions along Hollis Creek on the eastern end of San Diego County. This is one of many areas where extensive work was done this week to clear obstructions from some of the waterways. Crews are hoping all of that work will help to prevent a repeat of the widespread flooding that many people experienced last week. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the storms hitting the West Coast. And Mark, we have another very strong system that arrives in just a matter of days.
Yeah, Alex, that storm is developing just to the north and east of Hawaii. We'll show it to you a bit on the satellite to coming up, and we'll be tracking that as we head into Sunday and into early next week. In the meantime, we're showing you some of the rainfall totals from today over the past 24 hours. Santa Barbara over 3 inches of rainfall. San Francisco and Los Angeles over 2 inches of rainfall. And San Jose over 1 inch. Now into next week, we're thinking Sunday and into Monday, the focus will be in Southern California. They could be potentially picking up extreme rainfall, and these amounts are pretty tough to deal with. In fact, the National Weather Service trying to warn everybody that this could be a dangerous situation developing into next week. So in the mountains of Southern California and the foothills, we could be talking about rainfall in the order of 6 to 12 inches. So that's what we're watching for the second half of the weekend and into next week. Here's the West Coast satellite and the radar right now. Lots of green to show you, indicating some rain showers even up in the Pacific Northwest. As we come in closer right now, these are all the storm reports up and down the state of California, reports of some downed trees and some flooding. Here's the satellite and the radar right now. Some rain showers right around the Portland area and also moving into parts of Washington. And of course, we have the active weather, as you can pick out, in Southern California from earlier today, and so some scattered rain across the central coast of California. As we check out the big view in the Pacific, this is that storm system I'm watching. So here's Hawaii, and then you can see that little circulation here. This will be approaching and developing and strengthening and heading toward our coast over the next few days. As far as Seattle today, you can see some breaks in the clouds. Temperatures in the upper 50s, 57 degrees. In San Francisco, lots of cloud cover and some scattered rain showers and some thunderstorms for today. And then down in Southern California, you see all the cloud cover, the rain showers, temperatures to LAX in the upper 50s, right around 60 degrees. So here's the forecast model. We will keep the showers in at least the possibility in San Francisco for tomorrow. And then as you can see up toward Oregon, we're going to pick up some rain showers. In Southern California, it looks like they will have a sun-cloud mix. Chance of some showers in Phoenix, and this is the forecast as we head into, especially later Saturday and Sunday. Look at the rainfall regrouping and expanding across parts of California. Also some more snow in the Sierras. So once again, the focus of the rain will be in California. We're showing you some significant totals once again. So the breakdown for tomorrow: partly sunny in Seattle, some showers off and on for San Francisco, a sun-cloud mix for Los Angeles and out toward Phoenix. You can see the 3-day forecast. And once again, all eyes will be watching the next atmospheric river developing, especially as we head into a Sunday and into early next week. That will be bringing in some major impacts across parts of California, especially down in Southern California. Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mark, thank you. And the storm that's already moved into the West Coast has brought a whole lot of new snowfall. Here is a live look at the snowy conditions in Northern California on the way up to Lake Tahoe tonight. For the most part, the roads have been passable. You can see some cars moving through the shot right here. Drivers in mountain communities across California are being warned to stay prepared, though, by having their chains ready to go if they're needed, especially with this next system on the way. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna shows us how skiers are making the most of all that new snow in Southern California.
What a difference one storm can make.
A few days ago, it was dirt, and now it's powder, tree runs and all. It's sick.
High praise for Mountain High in Wrightwood. Snowboarders arrive to snowy conditions.
The snow comes down, it kind of hits our face like pellets, but other than that, we're just having fun.
Well, it's like our 4th run of the day, and it's pretty slick out there, but it feels good.
Yeah. Okay, sure, no one complains on the mountain, but before you make it to the lift, you need to chain up.
It's all going to be worth it once I get up, yeah. But I'd rather be safe than sorry.
This was a quick trip up to Mountain High, kind of unexpected. I remembered skis and poles,
Nothing else. No goggles, no face mask, but we're gonna give it a try. Woo-hoo! The boarders are right. Conditions excellent, even for us, the rare skier.
It's powder. You gotta lean all the way back or you're getting stuck in there. I had to hike out a few times. I got stuck. It's real deep.
Yeah.
It's real deep.
But those are good days.
Good days, what we've been waiting for, praying for, dreaming about.
And as good as conditions are Thursday, expect even more and better snow this weekend.
People are excited for the weekend, and they should be. It's supposed to clear up tomorrow, Friday, as well as Saturday. And then Sunday night is when we expect the snow to come back in. And we expect between another foot to 2 feet of snow next week.
I'll miss out, so I better make this one run count.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, 3 people killed and others injured as an airport hangar suddenly collapses in Boise, Idaho. Tonight, the latest from authorities as they work to figure out why that structure gave way. Also, preparations for Super Bowl 58 go beyond getting typical Las Vegas landmarks ready for big crowds. We'll show you how homeless advocates are ramping up their work as well. We're learning some new details tonight about the sudden collapse of an airport hangar in Idaho that left 3 people dead and 9 others injured. Reporter Derica Day tells us a federal investigation is now underway in Boise.
It was a pretty global collapse that occurred. The main structural members came down. It was fairly catastrophic.
3 people died at the scene, while 5 of the 9 others injured are in critical condition and receiving care at local hospitals following a catastrophic collapse. An official from the Jackson Jet Center said it occurred at their new 39,000 square foot steel hangar under construction.
I know that they were actually placing some sort of members at the time, and it did collapse the crane as a result of the building collapse.
So the crane did fall on the structure of the hangar?
Yeah, I don't know exactly because I didn't see it beforehand, but I know the crane was impacted.
The incident drew a large response. Fire crews worked to stabilize the scene and performed multiple victim rescues.
We've accounted for everybody, yes.
According to the area director for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, David Kearns, they can't comment on the investigation, but they did talk to us about the process. OSHA says they first worked to find out exactly what happened by collecting evidence, talking to witnesses, and taking pictures. OSHA is an enforcement organization, and it will be determined if any violations were made. They say OSHA violations can be determined as criminal through legal processes that will show intentional disregard. OSHA says the steel erection, like the Boise hangar that failed, is highly hazardous. They say this is why everyone must work to keep their employees safe. Governor Little did issue a statement earlier today via Twitter asking everyone to keep the families of those injured in our prayers and that the state will be paying very, very close attention to this incident to figure out how they can further assist. I'm Derica Kay reporting from Boise for KMVT News.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents are calling special attention to a recent series of arrests in major cities all across the West. As part of a nationwide crackdown, agents arrested 171 people living in the country illegally and wanted for a variety of serious crimes. Speaking about the operation today, Acting ICE Director Patrick Leitner talked about the need for additional funding.
We need more resources, and we're working to get that as hard as we can. We understand the political realities of that, but we need more resources. We're currently under a CR through the beginning of March, and we're going to have to make some tough decisions going forward if we don't get more supplemental funding, because we have to live within our means like everything else in the government and in reality.
ICE agents focus special attention on arrests made in Tacoma, Washington, Los Angeles, and Denver. The Tacoma case involves someone from El Salvador convicted of child molestation and rape. The Los Angeles case involves someone from El Salvador convicted of lewd or lascivious acts with a child, and a citizen of Mexico convicted of murder was arrested in Denver. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer suggested on social media today that a bipartisan group of senators is close to finalizing language on a new border security bill. While details of the bill have not been made public, House Speaker Mike Johnson has already said it will not pass. Democrats say Republicans are sabotaging the bill before it's finalized.
There is no bill. I haven't seen a bill. The people putting this bill together need to land this plane.
They want to walk away, and this is exactly what people hate about Washington. Let's not forget that it's Israel aid and Ukraine aid. And if that bill is dead, what happens to those issues?
With border talks continuing to drag on, some lawmakers say it's time to separate aid for Ukraine and Israel from that border bill. Today, the Oregon Supreme Court upheld a law that disqualifies elected officials from the ballot if they have more than 10 absences. The voters approved that law after a 6-week boycott by Republican lawmakers last year. Fox 12 reporter Connor McCarthy tells us the ruling means 10 state senators cannot run for re-election.
Kicked off the ballot for re-election.
We wholeheartedly disagree with their assessment, but recognize their authority to make that call.
9 Senate Republicans and 1 independent will no longer be able to run in their next election cycle after the Oregon Supreme Court ruled against them in their challenge over Measure 113. For the 2024 cycle, this includes Republican Senate Minority Leader Tim Knopp, Senators Brian Boquist, Dennis Linthicum, and Art Robinson.
Senate Republicans, especially the 10, are committed to working together this session in solidarity with the rest of our members.
During the 2023 legislative session, the Senate Republican caucus walked out in protest over bills surrounding abortion, transgender care, and gun rights. 9 Republicans, including Senator Knopp, racked up more than 10 unexcused absences over the 6-week walkout. Measure 113, passed by nearly 70% of Oregon voters in 2022, disqualifies any elected member in the state legislature from running for re-election if they have 10 or more unexcused absences.
It was simply to prove the point that you had to follow the law and you had to follow Senate rule, and you had to include the Republicans in the discussion and listen to our constituents' concerns.
Republican lawmakers argued in court that the language of the measure wasn't clear in defining which term they were disqualified from running for. The court ruled that the language was clear and voters understood any violations would bar legislators from running for their next immediate election.
Obviously, we still have the opportunity to pause the session if we need to for any reason. So, in our vantage point, it's still an opportunity for Senate Republicans that represent mostly rural Oregon to have influence in the legislative process, which is what our constituents sent us here to do.
Across the aisle, Democratic Senate Leader Kate Lieber sent Fox 12 a statement in response to the state Supreme Court's ruling saying, quote, "The Supreme Court upheld the will of the voters who wanted their elected officials to show up and work together to solve our toughest problems. It's an honor to serve in Salem, and we are here and ready to do the work."
The special interests, that being the unions mostly, who brought forward the Measure 113, could have dealt with this differently and could have just said a straight-up quorum is 16. They chose not to do that. The reason they chose not to do that is because of polling that showed that Oregonians wouldn't accept that. So that tells me that Oregonians do want some sort of check and balance there as it relates to the ability of one party to control everything.
And that was Fox 12's Connor McCarthy reporting for us tonight. The Oregon Republican Party says there are no plans to try to appeal that Supreme Court decision. Up next tonight here on West Coast Wrap, as preparations ramp up for Super Bowl 58, homeless advocates are calling for more help for some of the most vulnerable members of the Las Vegas community. Coming up tonight, see what's being done to support those who are unhoused. Plus, get ready for a whole lot of deadheads in the desert. We'll have the details on the upcoming Las Vegas residency for the offshoot of the legendary Grateful Dead. Part of the build-up to Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas includes some difficult work for homeless advocates. Fox 5's Joe Vigil shows us how they're helping the city to get ready.
Shine a Light has been ramping up efforts to help the homeless as the Super Bowl gets closer. We caught up with staff helping some homeless people in the Sahara Boulder Highway area. Shine a Light goes into tunnels on the weekends to provide help and a way out of the tunnels if people choose. And on this day, a couple people decided they are done with life on the streets and asked Shine a Light for help which immediately got them into detox and on a new path forward in life.
We'll engage them in our iPath program, so that'll be the next 18 months if they so choose. Every step of the way, we're going to walk them through all the different levels of care.
Homeless and in tunnels himself for years, Robert Banghart is now the outreach manager for Shine a Light. He expects there to be some clearing of tunnels for Super Bowl, but says it's been going on for a while now.
Since F1, the talk about the A's coming here, the stadium, all the presence downtown, there's definitely been more of a presence in trying to clear out the tunnels around the strip and to keep it cleared out more so than in the past.
The group estimates about 1,500 people live in about 600 miles of tunnels and estimates right now there may be about 70% fewer people in them close to the strip.
On the route that I usually do, it seems like in the underground tunnels around the strip, it's down to bare minimum.
He says of 30 to 40 people who were a quarter mile in a tunnel near the Rio, there are now maybe only 3 to 4 who are still there. No trespass notices go up around washes and tunnels, and while some of the homeless may not have the best experience with police, like Aurora Ross,
I have to go to court in March for being in the wash, like I got trespassed from being here.
Banghart says each contact police or others have with people is an opportunity to find them resources.
Luckily, we have a really great partnership with Metro and all the different services, and we're out there with them trying to help and see what we can do to be like in another extension. We just believe that we're one community, right? So how can we help? What else can we do?
In fact, a wash cleanup notice posted at this spot along Boulder Highway includes phone numbers of people with help of Southern Nevada. This flyer shows several locations that offer help, along with, again, phone numbers and addresses of where to find them. Joe Vigil, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
And one of Shine a Light's case managers was gifted 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl 58 host committee said the gift was offered as a thank you for the great work that organization is doing in the community. Well, the NFL is teaming up with Super Bowl halftime performer Usher to release some new merchandise. It comes out next week as part of the lead up to the big game in Vegas on February 11th. The pink and purple themed collection drops on Wednesday, February 7th. It includes jerseys, jackets, helmets, and limited edition footballs. The U-shaped emblem featured in the collection is inspired by Usher's signature diamond-studded necklace. Music and football fans alike can access the shop in person in Las Vegas at the Super Bowl Experience, or you can shop online at nflshop.com/Usher. Well, deadheads may want to book a trip to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Sphere has announced on its world-famous dome that Dead & Company has finalized a residency deal. The band, featuring former Grateful Dead members along with guitarist John Mayer, will be playing the venue starting on May 16th. This residency includes 18 shows that will run through June 22nd. Tickets go on sale next Friday, and no doubt they will be going fast. That does it for West Coast Rap tonight. We appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow.